Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. Coming up, we're out with top shot George Digweed looking at the right cartridges for clays. We're here at the Royal Berkshire Shooting School for the preview of the Handicap Classic. First, we're in Wales after mythical big cats. We're out in wild West Wales where mythical animals abound. Along with the better known red dragon, a black lion is an emblem from the mists of time of the great Welsh chiefs. Today the black lion echoes down the years mainly as a pub sign, but perhaps it still has a resonance in the consciousness of the Welsh, for farmers in this part of Pembrokeshire are convinced there is a live one that's killing their sheep.
I do have an experience with the cat. After many years of keeping sheep, we've lost ewes and lambs with predation by foxes, badgers and other carrion. But end of October this year it was totally different. And I went to check my sheep, which I checked the night before, and it was a yearling ewe which weighed approximately 100 and a quarter. It was stripped bare. The right shoulder was ripped out of the socket, and the dead ewe was there. But it was clawed back. All the wool was clawed back, and there were big claw marks down. And after this was reported, I found out that this was the modus operandi of a big cat. If they killed a calf, if they killed a sheep, they liked clean meat, and so they rolled back the pelt off a calf, or they rolled back the wool off a ewe. We've come up with 11 confirmed sightings in this area.
There is not much video evidence of British big cats, and all of it is fuzzy and out of focus. However, in 2009, an off-duty policeman, PC Chris Swallow, filmed this animal on his mobile phone in Argyllshire. He says it was as big as a Labrador. The sightings in Wales persuaded Sporting Rifle editor Peter Carr to come down and see if he can find the animal.
Well, there's been reports of a big cat and plenty of killings of stock here. I was quite sceptical at first, but some colleagues gave a bit of credence to the big cat killings. So I came down and had a look. I had a word with some of the guys before I came down here, and they were quite convinced, and they have been losing stock. So I came down, had a look, and prepared to give it a try for a week to see if we could catch up with this cat. We've used the spy cams over the baits. We put a number of baits out. You can see the baits are actually wired. They're just a small wire strand just to keep the bait there. So if anything does come and tries to drag the bait off, it's just going to hold it enough to make a mess around the bait. It's quite wet ground, and we get a bit of an idea what's there, because there's not a spy cam on every bait. We put a number of baits out. Spy cams are in an ideal world would have a spy cam on every one, but unfortunately it's not an ideal world, and budgets are tight.
Why have you decided that, for example, this particular place would be a likely place for a cat?
Well, there's 3 farms quite close to here, and there's the clusters of killings in this area over the last year or so. So we've basically put the baits where there have been kills before, but these are within the clusters that we've marked on the map.
And do cats like to move around with this kind of woodland cover behind them, or do they move around in the open?
Well, again, this is British countryside, so it's a displaced animal, so we're just going on what experience I've had in Africa, and here the cat's been seen in these areas, the killings have been in these areas, and we've put all the baits near or exactly in the same position where kills have been made before, so we know the cat has been active here.
Peter has backup. His friend Steve Sweeting is trained in how to use a dart gun on dangerous animals.
We've got the darts with the drug in them. We would then need to be within a good distance. We haven't got the kind of range that we would have with a full-bore rifle. So, ideally I'd really want to be within perhaps 40 yards maximum. That's where it becomes difficult. It would be particularly difficult with a leopard. I'm not at all convinced that there is a leopard here, but leopards would be unpleasant animals to dart, especially in a place like this where if it decided that it didn't like being darted and instead of running away ran towards us, then obviously as a last resort we would have to shoot it.
So does Pete reckon he is in with a chance?
If it is a big cat, it's been released, somebody's been keeping this thing illegally and it's been released. I don't go with the opinion of some people that they're actually perpetuating in the wild. I just don't think that'd happen. There's too many gamekeepers out lamping. Okay, they would say, well, if it's been shot at, it's lamp shy. I can understand that, but we're using night vision on the night. You know, the cat can't see the night vision, so, you know, like I say, we're just applying what principles we can to what is possibly a big cat.
After nearly a week in Pembrokeshire, Pete's hidden camera produces evidence of a team effort that may explain the big cat legend. Foxes, badgers and magpies are stripping the meat. And he discovers the footprints of muntjac deer, which were unknown in Wales until recently. He reckons a muntjac in the dark could fool even experienced country folk such as these farmers into thinking they had seen a cat. But then Pete also admits he could be wrong. Now, stolen gun dogs are back in the news. This shooter in Kent lost 2 on a shoot day. Forget the sat-nav or stereo, thieves are now breaking into cars for our gun dogs. After months and years of training, these very special animals are worth thousands, and the criminals know it. Meg, a Springer Spaniel, and Willow, a Cocker Spaniel, were stolen from the back of Douglas Barker's car a few days ago from a farmyard in Faversham in Kent. He'd been out rough shooting with some friends. The dogs are his pride and joy and not a lot of use to anyone else. He gets the best out of them because he trained them and knows them. They've also both been spayed, so they're no use for breeding. The most difficult thing for Douglas was telling his granddaughter.
She's now stated that she thinks we're going to find them. And I live with that dream that either a reward or something will find the dogs. I am horrified to see the number of family pets that have been taken.
Douglas called the police and dogslost.co.uk. The organisation has a network of volunteers. Jane Franklin deals with dozens of calls every day, but they have methods which they know improve the chances of getting your dog back.
The important thing is to make these dogs really, we call, too hot to handle. It's got to be known that these are stolen dogs because someone somewhere wants to buy these dogs. If we can make it known they are stolen, the more chances of getting these dogs back.
Doglost.co.uk was very supportive when sporting journalist Selena Masson lost her young Cocker Spaniel Archie in 2009. We were able to help spread the word as she tried to tell the Fieldsports community to keep a lookout for her missing dog. Thousands of people contacted her through Facebook and she never gave up hope. And with good reason. We can now reveal that 13 months after her appeal, Archie has been found, fit and well, and roaming the streets of Godstone in Surrey. Selena was reunited with Archie at the local RSPCA centre.
Such a mix of emotions. Bizarrely, I slept very, very well last night, a very restful sleep, which I wasn't expecting. And then woke up just feeling very, very sick and nervous because although the RSPCA had confirmed that it was him, there was still a part of me that wouldn't believe it until I actually saw him. And then when I actually saw him walk around the door, I just collapsed and just so emotional. And I couldn't speak. But he didn't seem to recognise me until I actually managed to utter the word Archie, and then he seemed to twig who I was. So I don't know, it was so made up, just amazing.
How long ago was it he was lost?
It was 13 months and 8 days. So, a very, very long time. And I know it sounds like a cliche, but my partner and I never gave up thinking about him or hoping that maybe one day he might come home. But talking to the RSPCA, it's a very unusual case for a dog like this to actually reappear, so I'm incredibly lucky.
It was only because Archie was microchipped that Selena got her dog back.
So what happened is a lady came into us on Sunday and she had found the two dogs straying. They were actually eating a chicken carcass, I think, so she picked them up and obviously brought them here. When we took him in, we scanned him, and luckily Archie was actually chipped. So we managed to trace the chip, and obviously it traced back to the vets, and they said that he was stolen. So we actually then managed to get hold of Archie's owner. We really do encourage people to do it. It's not a costly thing. I mean, we do it here at the RSPCA for just £15, and if your dog does get stolen or lost, this is how they can be returned. So it's a really good thing to show how microchipping does work.
An amazing tale, and hopefully Douglas will hear news of Meg and Willow very soon.
You're taking notice of me now.
The Handicap Classic is back. One of the biggest prizes in clay shooting is taking place at the Royal Berkshire Shooting School until May 2011. Entries come from male and female, old and young.
I'm 13.
And you're obviously a top shot and a sponsored vest with your name on it. What have you won?
Well, I've won quite a few different shoots, but one of my main ones is the British Open for skeet. Yeah, and I won C-class for that, and then I won the English Open for C-class skeet as well.
That's fantastic. And who are you sponsored by?
I'm sponsored by Ely and Greeny and Muckwet gloves.
This is a handicap competition.
Yeah.
Are you going in with quite a significant handicap as a result?
Well, I've got 20, so it is quite a lot. Yeah, but I've been trying to stay out of the main shoots, so my handicap's up for this. Yeah.
Are you being a bit strategic about your handicap?
Maybe.
Amber is of course hoping to win the top prize of a Browning Heritage shotgun. Here's David Stapley from Browning to say why he is happy to hand it over.
Well, firstly, you've got a great location, the Royal Berkshire Shooting School, probably the premier shooting ground in the country. We believe that the Clay Shooting Classic is the best followed in the event in the country. We're expecting over 2,000 entries this year, which is fantastic. It's a premier competition, and we're very, very proud to be associated with the competition.
Browning is well known to clay and game shooters. Is this a way of specifically promoting clay shooting guns?
No, not specifically. I mean, obviously we're shooting clay targets, but Royal Berkshire's always been associated with game shooting, and it's a great place to come and hone your skills before you go out onto a grouse moor, to shoot some pheasants, and it combines both disciplines, I think, very, very well. It's clay shooting, but with a driven game sort of emphasis. The top prize, obviously, is this beautiful Heritage. This is a hunting version, or a game version, I should say, but it is available in Sporter as well, and also in 20 gauge, which is beautiful. This is actually a 12 gauge. This is the top prize for the Clay Classic competition. So this is the one everyone wants to win. And it's worth about £5,000.
£5,000.
Yes.
And the Maruka, which I'm holding here, what's that for?
There is a separate competition for Browning and Miraku shooters, and the Miraku will be for the top Browning or Miraku shooter over the 15-week period.
Now in its 10th year, the Handicap Classic consists of a range of prizes from cash to cartridges.
Ely cartridges, who are very kindly sponsoring every week 250 cartridges for the third place, along with the cash that we will be providing, which probably is most significant, of £100 for the first prize and £50 for the runner-up every week. CCI Clays for the first time are donating 10,000 clays for the squad of 4 that come together that wish to combine, and their combined scores will win them 5,000 clays for the first, and then so forth down to third place. The accumulator, which we started last year, where £1 of every entry goes into a pot, this year will be divided in first, second and third, with hopefully a pot of £2,000 to be distributed to the person that shoots the highest actual number of clays over the 14-week period. And the Really Wild Clothing Company, they will be sponsoring the ladies' prize. So every third week there'll be a trophy presented to the lady that scores the highest score. And every junior, every week, that is under the age of 16, as at the date of the final, will receive a free entry the following week. So I think we've covered juniors, adults, those that want to win cash, those that want to win guns, and hopefully there's something there for everybody.
It all sounds very generous. How do people find out that they've won?
Well, there is a website that will be running tonight where they can go online to see who's winning, who's dropped a place, which shows not only the score they shot, but the beauty of the whole competition being a handicap score. You can see the handicap they've got in order to identify their place in the league table. The highest 60 scores will be invited to the final, and that's the highest 40 scores using the Clay Pigeon Shooting Association averages as of December 2010, and those 20 people that are using the shooting school's handicap system if they haven't got a CPS average. So therefore they'll be able to see up until the final week, the 14th week, who will be invited to the final on the 5th of May.
Now, Royal Berkshire Shooting School is a very lovely shooting school. Does it cost hundreds of pounds to enter?
Well, we've managed to hold the price somehow through generous sponsorship of people like Browning and Ely, that this year, yet again, it'll be £40. We decided to absorb Mr Osborne's 2.5%, and therefore it's still £40. But those people, as I said, that are Countryside Alliance members or Browning and Maruku will get 10% discount off the tariff.
So bring your Browning, or your Maruku, or your Countryside Alliance badge, and you get in at 36.
You can even join the Countryside Alliance whilst you're here in order to be able to benefit on the 10% discount, while supporting a shooting organisation at the same time.
Well, we'll come back to the Handicap Classic a bit later. Earlier, I went to see George Digweed to talk about the best cartridges for clays. If you are serious about your clay shooting, look at what the champions use, and maybe look no further than the greatest shot of them all, George Digweed. The multi-world and European champion swears by Gamebor's range of clay cartridges, the Workaday Blue Diamond range, the high-performance Black Gold, and George's own favourite, the mid-range White Gold.
Well, the Blue Diamond is without question their biggest selling mid-range shell. It's got the Gordon recoil system in it, and the Gordon recoil system, just to explain it, is in a plastic wad. You've got a crush zone, which is, as they load it into a cartridge, the bottom piece is a crush zone which crushes as the shot goes off, and effectively the Gordon recoil system is a crush zone within the cap of the cartridge. So it's basically a double recoil buffer. And it's the cartridge that reduces the recoil before it gets to the gun. I can assure you, and I've done all sorts of tests over the years with fast and slow cartridges, that unless you get really into the realms of subsonic cartridges, which are incredibly low speed, then for you to be able to find the difference between 1300 and 1400 feet per second on the amount of equated lead that you would give a target, you're a better shot than I am. The difference in lead and the difference in the forward allowance you would give a target does not vary with 100 feet per second.
There should be a difference with the Black Gold, which delivers muzzle energy of 1,500 feet per second and is designed to hit those reachy targets that claim so many potential winners in competition. However, once again, Gamebore cleverly reduces the recoil.
I use that in an extreme situation with a big pellet to get the pellets there quickly. Although you have a 1,500 feet per second push, it reduces it down because you've got the Gordon system in it. So it's a lower recoil cartridge than a lot of the other 1,500 feet per second cartridges on the market. Still using diamond shot, and it just uses an F2 powder that's slightly quicker as well. So that gives it an initial speed.
So why does George prefer the White Gold?
When you look at a cartridge, it's just a plain bog standard shell, but it does the job, and it's a smooth cartridge. There's no recoil. It gets to, what I want to do very quickly in a smooth, consistent way. It gives a beautiful pattern. You know, when you break a target and you're in the middle of it, there is just nothing left. And I'm confident with it, and all the time I, you know, continue to say that. Then, you know, unless the powers that be put me in handcuffs and tell me any different, I shall still remain using it. Oh.
Back at the first day of the Handicap Classic, let's talk to some of the guys who've been shooting this course for years about their top tips.
Anybody here could win. If you're a novice, you get a higher handicap, you might get 20 targets, so you could win. So it's great. It's an even playing field, just like golf handicap. So I've got a par 16 at the moment, so I've got to come back again and have another go.
After you've done it once, then try not to get complacent on the round, because obviously you can shoot the same course as many times you like, and obviously you will, every time you shoot it, the weather conditions will change the target, so it's quite important that you read them not the same as last time, because they will be slightly different.
I reckon it's worth coming here just to shoot the grouse buck. Don't think about it, do it all in tune. You haven't got time to think. If you think, oh, I'm going to shoot 8 feet in front, it's too late, you missed it. You just mount the gun, pull the trigger. So if somebody loads for you, got 20 targets, and it's that exciting. Good, and you get the high tower birds, you get all of them. This shoot's got it all. There's not one like this.
Well, that's your best bet on how to shoot the Handicap Classic. Now, we've had a bit of news to report at Fieldsports Channel. Dennis Rousel is the winner of our competition to find the best story about Britain's biggest fox. He shot a 34-pounder in 2009. And the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust has been in touch. They'd like us to keep a big fox register, so please keep your stories of big foxes coming in. We're back next week. This has been Fieldsports Britain.